Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Life Journey webinar How to Explore Its Inspirational Power. My name is Ali Henry Garcia, and I will be your host today. Let's get started. There is so much to do in this world, but before transforming your dreams into reality and fully embracing life journey, you have to face real challenges and new obstacle types. In this webinar, Mr. Amr Shaker will explore how those discoveries and uncertainties are true inspiration sources. Amr is an inspirational coach with 30 years cross-cultures international experience and deep understanding of human nature. He offers self-transformation coaching to people looking for tools and support to unleash their full potential. Without further introduction, I leave the floor to Mr. Amr Shaker. Amr?
Thank you very much, Ali, and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. It is my great pleasure and honor to have you with us today. Before talking about today's subject, I just would like to share with you my mission, the same words that I included in the recently launched website, and which will be the linking element for all my webinars, whether they are private or public. Inspiring our life. This is my slogan, and I just would like to share with you what I mean by this slogan. Each one of us has a responsibility to inspire our life to make the best out of it. This is something that we all know it, and whenever you ask anyone, what do you like to do in life and what you would like to achieve in life, the answer will be always to be happy, to do what I wanted to do, or I would like to realize my dreams. So this is our responsibility. And it is very important to remind ourselves that nobody will be giving us this except our own will and our own focus to achieve it. My mission is to help you developing your true potential, find your real purpose to succeed in your life and career. This is just my mission, but also my engagement through the different coaching services that I am proposing to offer you. And I'm going to come back to this at the end of the session. The three symbols that you have here just remind everyone that we are going through different phases in our life, exploration of new opportunities. Then in the midlife, what we call midlife traveler. Some people call it midlife crisis or midlife stagnation, but somehow we are in between two phases. And then the last one is when we are concluding a certain phase and we are starting another one. Today's session is around new opportunities, around new journeys, and how to explore the inspiration elements related to it. And this is the topic that we are going to explore and was introduced by Ali a few minutes ago. Whenever we go into this road, we are exploring areas that we maybe know some of it, others we will not know. Even if we went through this road before, there will be new conditions, new aspects, like what we are going through those days with the COVID situation. It is increasing the level of uncertainty in certain line, increasing the level of opportunities in other aspects, and it is important to explore all of those areas during the journey. Is it worth going for it? Is it worth exploring new journeys? Is it worth taking risks? My answer will be, you never know until you try. You never know is it worth it or not unless you try the new journey, whether it is on the personal level or on the professional level or both. It is very important to try as long as you know why you are doing it. I recall, and you know me from the first webinar, I like to share personal stories. And I recall a case where a friend of mine called me a few years back and he said, Amr, I would like to get your help. I have some sort of mission impossible. And when I understood or when I asked him what it's all about, he said that it is, he wanted to apply for a post-MBA studies in Harvard. So he did an MBA. He wanted to have a post-MBA. So until now it is good. But then I said, why it is impossible? He said, because the admission door will close in a couple of months. I don't have the funding. I don't have the admission from Harvard. I did not even apply yet. And I don't have the approval from my manager, my company, and even my wife. So it was mission impossible. But I said, and this is the sentence that I give him that day, if you never try, you will never know if it is worth it or not, and if it is possible or not. And he made it. In a couple of months, we managed to get all the approvals, all the funding, external funding even, and he made it. And it was a very good journey for him to go through it, not only to apply, not only to be admitted, but to go through the study and benefit from it afterwards. So you never know, even if something seems to you to be impossible, unless you try. Travel log inspiration. I like very much what Kobe Bryant mentioned, and of course, most of us know, if not all of us know who is Kobe Bryant. He said, everything negative, pressure, challenges are all opportunity for me to rise. He takes everything as an opportunity. He converts everything as a possibility to move forward, to progress, he embraced those pressures and challenges sources. And he loved facing those because they were all considered to be the milestones for his own progress. Mandy Hale mentioned, and she is a writer, realized that if a door closed, it is because what was behind it wasn't meant for you. And again, for some cultures like Middle East, and I come from this culture, but other cultures around the world, they understand that sometimes what we call the maktub, what is written. And what is written, in, as far as our destiny is concerned, it is not just that we stay passive and accept whatever happens, but sometimes we have to take the signals and we have to understand that some doors are supposed to be closed at a certain time and open another time. For example, in my case, I remember around 15 years ago, I applied for a job, and I was told that I was not fit for the job, and I didn't get it. Of course, I was disappointed. I thought that I had all the skills, all the knowledge, all the competencies, but it was not meant for me. What was needed at that time were other qualities and other competencies, and it was for a certain customer. And a few years later, and more specifically, 12 years later, for the same customer, in a different stage of my career, and a different stage of the relationship with the customer, I was asked to support the customer. So I did not even apply for the role, I was asked for it. Because the qualities that I had, which I developed, of course, during those 12 years, were needed at that time, 12 years later. The relationship with the customer required those competencies and those skills. So again, everything has its timing. And we have to be aware and attentive to where are the good doors and to open, and what are the doors that are not meant to be open at a certain time. Throughout our life, we go through different learning cycles. And I believe that, this is a standard model. I did not invent it, but I just want to visit it and revisit it with you and relate it to our topic today. We move from one phase to another. So first, we go into unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know, while we think we know it all. And this is something that many of us, if not all of us, go through it. We think that we know what it takes to start, for example, a new business. When a new entrepreneur will start because he's a good technical or he has a good product, and he thinks what it takes to be a good entrepreneur, how to negotiate with a bank, how to negotiate with a partner. But step by step, he realizes, and he goes into conscious incompetence. He becomes conscious about his own competence or her own incompetence. He recognizes the deficit and the new skills value to address it. And again, this is not a failure. It is just a recognition about what is missing. He becomes conscious about what he lacks. And then conscious competence. He will learn the new skills, he will learn the new elements, the knowledge, and he will practice. But this practice will be requires lots of concentration, because he has to concentrate while applying those new skills. And then he will reach the unconscious competence, where it becomes a second nature. This element will be part of him. We can all remember when, before we started to drive the car, we thought that we know how to drive a car because we saw our parents driving the car. And then we realized that we don't have the skills and we have to learn. And the first few weeks, months, we were so concentrated driving the car until we realized that it becomes second nature, and we can even talk on the phone now with the Bluetooth and sometimes discuss very sensitive topics while driving. Of course, I do not recommend such attitude, despite that sometimes I have to admit that I apply it myself. But again, what I want to say here is that sometimes what seems to be very difficult at a certain stage, it becomes second nature until we realize that it is not the end of the story. For example, as far as driving, when you move to England or Australia or Singapore, you realize that you need to learn other skills because they drive on the other side. They say, of course, that it is the right side and not the wrong side. But again, for someone who is not used, he has to learn new things. So while he's in the plane or she's in the plane going to Australia, we think that we can drive easy the rented car. But so during the flight, we are still in the unconscious incompetence until we realize that we are incompetent to drive immediately in this country, and we have to learn how to drive on their side. So this is another example, but again, entrepreneurs go through this example when we get into another social status, from single to get married to having children. We think we know, we think that it is easy because we see other people doing it. But we realize step by step that we need new competences. And this is the whole journey, and this is the joy of the journey. Learning is something that we should enjoy, and we should always get hooked to discovery of new things. And before we start the new journey, we need to pause. And this is the bag that small bag that for a long weekend or for a week. And when I used to go and meet customers in Latin America, I used to be teased by my friends in Latin America by saying only this bag for a week, of course, because we are traveling every day meeting customers. So I had to prepare my bag very carefully because I couldn't afford to have a big bag. So packing for a new journey needs a certain number of elements. Do you know your objective? And the first webinar, I developed the concept of follow your inspiration. You have the answers within you. I call it the inner voice. Follow your inspiration. Check if the journey is the right one for you. Check what is the inner voice is telling you. And then, is it relevant? Ask yourself, again, maybe your inspiration is telling you, yes, it is the right thing because you're attracted by a new job, which will bring you a certain career status or more money or new relations. But is it relevant for your life purpose? Will it deviate you from your life purpose? Because every step will take energy and time. And then you move to are you well equipped? What do you know? What you don't know? Remember the 4 cycles. You need to check what do you have in terms of skills, in terms of knowledge, in terms of awareness around what is going on around this new journey. Then you go into, are you well supported? And I mentioned this again in the first webinar. You shouldn't travel alone. You need supporters, you need partners, you need mentors. You need to be surrounded by the right people. And I emphasize on the fact that the right people are giving you energy, not taking energy from you. They are not all perfect. They might challenge you. They might not be in agreement with you, but they will be supporting you. And they will sometimes tell you about what is going wrong in your journey. Or you tell them about what is going wrong in their journey, because sometimes you have a common journey, or sometimes you have different journeys and you just interact through common points in your life. And then when you are ready, as we say in Egypt, yalla. Yalla means let's go for it. And many French people know it because there is a song in France called Yalla. Every step counts. When you start the journey, then you are in it. You learn, you enjoy, you move from one step to another because you have the right pack. Again, maybe the bag is not enough. Maybe what you put in the bag is not enough, and you have to buy new things during the journey. This is normal. The packing before the journey is just the starting point, and then you go for it. The new journey phases. And this is where, of course, the metaphor of the mountain climber is that you move into different phases. Of course, when you want to climb the mountain, you admire you love the scene, you love the idea of going on top of it. It is a very nice place. But you move from different phases when you are climbing a mountain, or when you are going through an entrepreneurial journey, or when you go into a social journey, or whatever. First you move from the honeymoon. And again, in marriage, we use the term of honeymoon, but at work as well. The first few days, few weeks is a honeymoon. When you are climbing the mountain, at the beginning, you have full energy, you are delighted to go into the mountain. And until you realize that there is a shock. And the shock is not that the mountain have changed its characteristic, but you realize that it will be much harder than what you thought. It takes lots of energy. It will take more time. You have enough food, you have the right tools, and entrepreneurial is the same thing. If now a new entrepreneur would starting a new company, and then started at the beginning of 2020 or end of 2019, and then the shock of COVID situation, how he will be adapting. So this was not part of the journey that he planned, and he will have to adapt. He'll have to find out what he has in terms of tools and means, and what he needs to add in order to be able to overcome this shock, whether it is emotional shock or financial shock or culture shock or professional shock. But there is some sort of downward point after the honeymoon. Anticipate it, prepare for it. Again, accept it. This is something very important. And whenever there is this kind of shock, accept it, because it will inspire you. Again, the whole topic of today is about inspiration. Get inspiration from the shock as you get inspiration from the honeymoon. Adjust. Take the time to adjust. Take the time to maybe reset your expectations, reset your objectives, reset the surrounding. Maybe you are not well surrounded by the right people or by the right customers or by the right partners. Adjust. And then once you adjust everything, adapt and move on. You will adapt your plans, you will adapt your objectives, and you will move on. Maybe you will move on and then you find yourself in another honeymoon and another shock, and that's it. But every phase of those will inspire you, as long as you accept it and as long as you are mentally prepared for it. Especially, as I said, if you're surrounded by the people who give you energy and not take energy from you. If you're surrounded by people who will say, you see, I told you that there will be this problem of COVID. I told you that you will not have enough money. I told you that the customers will not buy your product. Of course, when you will hear this, you are not surrounded by the right people because they are taking energy from you. You will have to spend energy to convince them instead of putting the energy to move on in your journey and climb the mountain. Before we move on and have this wake-up call, I would there is a new initiative that we'll introduce in the webinar today, is to have a guest speaker who will be, I will be asking him a few questions. Every time we'll have a different guest speaker who will be, who had in his life or had life an experience related to the topic that we have. And today I am delighted to welcome my dear friend and colleague, Felipe Stutz from Brazil, who will answer a couple of questions from my side. Hello, Felipe.
Hi, Amr.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Can you tell us, please, about a challenging situation, a challenging transition situation that you had in your life, whether it is on the personal life or on a professional level?
Sure. And first of all, thanks for inviting me to this webinar today, Amr. And I can see, looking at your slides, your presentation, why you invite me, because I associate myself with a lot of what you shared until now. But yeah, I think I had a lot of transitions myself. One that I'll talk particularly is about a professional transition, or it's part of my career evolution. So 10 years ago, I was a technical expert. I would say in my field, you know, I invested a lot of time, years, developing myself to become an expert in what I was doing in IT with engineering background. And at a certain point, I decided, or I had this desire to move to a more business-related function, you know, to work on business development, on sales activities, and then I made this decision to change, and I had an opportunity to do that, and it was a challenge because I was changing my career path, right? So I was starting a new cycle, and then I started to discover things that I was not expecting. Looking at your previous slide, I think I was really going through this cycle of discovery, and yeah, that was an interesting challenge for me.
And why it was challenging for you to go through this transition? What was difficult about it?
Yeah, so I see, looking at what you're presenting now, I think I had this phase of the honeymoon where when we started this transition, this type of change, I think we visualized something, and I had something in mind about what it was going to be, and then you face the reality, right? So you have those moments of confrontation where you start I was started to be exposed to experiences that were new to me. And it's interesting because we think we know, and going back to your learning cycle, I can see that very clearly now. But when I look back, I had this phase of where I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And I was lucky enough to have people that were challenging me, mentors, and I was listening to feedback. But there was a crucial moment, because you can listen to feedback and have people trying to show you things from another perspective, but if you don't accept that you need to change or you need to develop something, you stay stuck, right? And I think that was a crucial moment, you know, just dealing with new situations, new things related to my work, and I had to learn new skills. When I say new skills, is things related to business management, business development, so how to manage time, objectives, and plan things in a better way, how I could communicate in a more assertive way, all these type of things that are necessary in this type of job. Learn how to lead, how to drive people and our organization to achieve the results we need to achieve. So, and that was the type of challenge I had to face. But again, the crucial moment was to accept the idea that I had to develop those skills, those new abilities to go through this type of transition.
And if you want to conclude in just 3 words about what did you learn and you would like to apply continuing in other journeys.
Well, it will be hard to say in 3 words, but I think I learned to be more resilient, and I became stronger in this process, right? And it gave me the desire to take the learning to new phases of my journey. So taking new missions and really trying to share this with others. So right now I'm trying to help others to thrive, sharing what I learned during this transition period as well.
Thank you very much, Felipe. I really appreciate your testimony here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move forward. Before we move forward, I just want to remind everyone about a wake-up call. Things that I have been observing, not only recently, it was for some time, but recently I saw that the rate of those aspects were increasing. Full agenda comfort. What I call full agenda comfort. And by the way, this slide is my own creation. So if anyone would feel that we need to discuss it further, I would love to have questions around it in the interactive part. The full agenda comfort, based on my observation, is that people are feeling more comfortable when they are very busy. When they say, sorry, I couldn't come back to you because I was so busy yesterday or the week before or last month. I'm underwater. Now the expression that I keep hearing, I'm underwater. I couldn't do it at all. And there is discomfort because they feel needed. They feel part of something important, whether it is work or it is outside work, and they are busy. They don't leave any time for other things, for meeting new people, for doing other things, because they are so busy. But this is a pity because they miss new opportunities because they are so busy. Then the likes and comments religion. Again, this is how I call the likes and comments religion. We feel that we need to comment everything, whether on the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and others. We keep finding areas where you have to comment, whether on writing or verbally. Everything is subject of comments. And then we expect people to like what we publish. And if they don't like it, we feel a little bit awkward. We feel neglected. We feel that we are not part of the game. And again, this takes energy and time. And sometimes I read comments that just people would write comment to say that we exist. And sometimes if the big boss will put something and his team will feel that they have to comment on it because they would like to show him that they are reading what he's publishing. Deliver first and think later. Again, we sometimes confuse agility with this kind of practice. Is that we need to think about what we are delivering in order to make sure that we are delivering something that meets the customer requirements and not just move fast, deliver something to be on time, to show that we are agile, and then later we think if it is the right product, if it is the right service or not. And again, I'm recommending everyone to think sometimes twice before we deliver, especially, again, it is about credibility, not only about external customers who are paying money, but it is even for your own team members, your own family, your own surrounding. Think about what you give to them before you just move on and do something to say, check in the box, I did it. No time to read. How many people do not have time to read even messages beyond 5 lines? We are now used to have the WhatsApp notes, the Twitter or other things that we are attracted always by the small things. Whenever there is an article, there is a book, there is something that has a certain depth, we don't have time to read it, and we say we'll read it later. And even if when we read it, we try to read it very fast at the beginning and the end, and later during the holiday, we are going to read all of those books. And then during the holiday period, maybe we read one of those books because we are very tired and we need to recover physically and mentally. The cross promotions, again, this is something that I notice, and again, it happens between individuals, but also between companies, that this company will award the other company for the best, being the best partner, and the company B will award company A for being the best customer. And again, sometimes it is very justified, very important that we cross promote each other, but again, sometimes we feel that we are doing it in a certain automatic way without having a certain meaning behind those cross promotions. And it is very important that when we are rewarding someone or a company or something, there is a meaning behind, there is a message behind. And then again, are you talking to me? I mean, everyone will be asking himself, including myself, am I going into those traps? Most probably yes, because I would never recognize others to fall into the traps if I don't unfortunately make those kind of mistakes, if I call it mistakes, or lack of focus or lack of energy. So I'm just inviting everyone to watch out about those elements, because during your journey, you need to be having all your power or your focus or your energy to move forward. The emotional intelligence. We all heard about it. We all know about the books around emotional intelligence. We all know about the source of it. Most of us think that we are applying it. First of all, many of us think that we are born intelligent emotionally. We know how to deal with others. We know how to negotiate. We know how to manage your emotions. But we think we know. And remember the 4 circles that I mentioned. The emotions are something that takes a lot of our energy and focus. It takes just a small message during the day that maybe you don't notice it, that takes all of your energy and attention in the background, and you are not able to do other things because this message or this topic is draining your energy. Relationship is very important, that you manage the emotions in any relationship. But you know what is, just a reminder about what is emotional intelligence. The first one is self-awareness. You need to know a lot about yourself. In any journey, the most common member of the journey is yourself. You can travel with your spouse, your partners, your boss, your team members in any journey, personal or professional, but those may change, may be the same, but the only one who is constant is yourself. So the first one that you need to know is yourself, self-awareness. Then the self-management. You need to know how to self-manage yourself. If you know what it takes your energy from you, what brings energy up and down, you need to know how to self-manage yourself. And you need to have social awareness. You need to know where you live, where you work. You need to know your surrounding in order to fit into this. And you can see that those 3 elements have to fit together like the components of a watch. Because if one is completely outphased with others, you will not be able to make it work together. You can be the most intelligent person, but if you are not able to relate with others, or you cannot manage your emotions, you will not be able to move on. The COVID situation that we are going through is giving us lots of challenges in this context, because we are confined, that we are working at home, we are not able to move freely. Some countries we are in full confinement, others we are in partial confinement. So the energy is different, the business opportunities are less, some people are losing their job, others are losing the contracts. So we have to manage all of those ups and downs. There are opportunities. Again, not everything is negative during the COVID situation, but if you are not able to manage your emotions and see what is positive about it, you will be hijacked, emotionally hijacked. And it is very important that you avoid that. And it is to see all the opportunities moving forward. I mean, myself, during the COVID situation, I identified a number of positive opportunities that I am exploring as such. People are getting together more. People are more open, more resilient. Felipe mentioned resiliency. It is because they know that the old world is somehow changing and in some aspects disappearing. So it is very important that we adapt to this new world. And why we are doing all of this? To manage situations. To manage situations, again, in all the contexts that we go through during the journey. Because if you know how to manage yourself and manage the relationship, you will be able to manage the situations. How to put the EQ, the emotional intelligence, in practice? Just a few hints. Again, it is very fragile. I mean, it's like stones putting on top of each other. It looks nice when it is balanced, but it can fall. So accept your vulnerability. Accept that you are vulnerable. Accept that you don't know it all. Accept that you are discovering. Accept that you are moving step by step into the journey. enjoy the discoveries. Enjoy that you fail. Enjoy, I mean, the number of quotes that we can find on the internet or in the books about the learning through failure. I mean, some cultures, I know that in North America, this is one of those cultures where they celebrate failures because for them, a CV with the failures is a very rich CV. Someone who failed learned a lot rather than someone where everything is perfect in his CV. So it is very important that you discover and enjoy the discoveries, whether they are positive or negative, whether they are high or down. But first, be true with yourself. Not only to know yourself, but true with yourself. If you are turning into circles, get out of this dilemma. If you are not surrounded by the right people, change your surrounding. If you are not doing what you like, change what you are doing. Do something that you love, while of course making sure that you are feeding your family and you are pursuing your life purpose. Key takeaways: you cannot improve something that does not exist. And this is a friend of mine who is attending the session today, keeps reminding me of this. So go for it. Because if you keep delaying starting to do something, you will never know how to improve it because it doesn't exist. So if you want to write a book, start writing the first lines of the book. If you would like to start a new job, or you apply to a new job, or create a new company, or start a new phase of your social life, do the first step, do the second step, because even if it is not perfect, you will be able to improve it. Even when I start preparing those presentations, I start with few words on a piece of paper or on a WhatsApp note to one of my friends, and then it becomes an idea, it becomes a slide, it becomes a picture, it becomes a story. So you cannot improve something that does not exist, so go for it, start it. To transform your opportunity into dream realization reality, allow the hero in you to be alive. There is a hero inside of each one of you. Make him or make her go out to the world. I mean, the hero is not someone who will be successful by the criteria that we all know, having the Oscar or having a big bank account or having the world champion award in football or sport or whatever. The hero is someone who is able to overcome the fears, and we all know that the fears paralyze the dream realization, paralyze the inspiration, paralyze everything. The hero is someone who overcome his weaknesses, who overcome the challenges, who move forward. This is the definition of hero. So let the hero come alive and let the hero help you. Let the inner voice talk to you and give you the right inspiration. And I'm here to help you. Again, this is my mission, to accompany all of you in any kind of way. And I have a certain number of ideas and forms that I included in the website. This is just a reminder of those. And moving forward, one-to-one coaching sessions to accompany you for specific improvements in your personal or your professional career. Evolution support program during a longer period of time. And I am very lucky to be able to accompany a number of people as we speak. And I'm very proud to see their evolution and their successes in their respective environments. And then inspiration master classes. Again, this public webinar is an example of it. I can adapt those speeches to a specific environment, to a specific context, for a group of people, for a certain purpose. So this is what I hope to be able to move forward with you in your own journey and supporting your own transformation. And I believe that now it is the time to questions. This time, compared to the first webinar, as agreed with Ali, we will dedicate more time for questions in order that we take the maximum number of questions. And I'm all yours now to take the questions, as I will let Ali remind you about the rule of the game here around how to capture the questions. Back to you, Ali.
Thank you very much, Amr. Very interesting presentation. Remember that you can start posting your questions on the chat. We have a first question, well, not a question, a comment from Sean Min Tan about the emotional intelligence slide. Info is very practical and to how to maintain your energy. Is that a comment from Sean Min Tan? Thank you for your comment, Sean Min.
Thank you, Sean Min.
We have a question from Antonio Lima. How do you see the task of setting an objective in such fast changing reality we are living right now?
It is a difficult task, Antonio. If it was easy, I would be, or if I know one answer that fits it all, I will be a millionaire now. But I would say my personal experience will be to don't set big objectives that will take long time to achieve. Get the picture, get the full picture, have your life purpose clear in front of you, your vision, and then set specific objectives, as I mentioned earlier, step by step, in order to be able, one, to see if you can achieve it or not, and celebrate the achievement of those specific objectives, and adjust if you feel that the new factors, the new changes happening next week, next month, or next quarter will require some adaptations for your objectives. So always keep going into the cycles of setting objectives, executing the objectives, evaluating the objectives achievement, and reviewing back the cycle on a regular basis, on a frequent basis. Get well surrounded. Again, don't work on an isolation. Make sure that you are well surrounded, consult, and get feedback, and integrate the feedback that you get.
Thank you very much, Amr. And thank you, Antonio, for your question. We still have 20 minutes for Q&A session, so don't be shy and start posting your questions on the chat. Just a reminder that Amr Shaker is AmrShaker.com is already live, so we invite you to start subscribing on the subscriber section, and also to follow his Facebook and Instagram accounts, which are also posted on the website AmrShaker.com. We have a question from Salim Bendris. Hello, Salim. Why do we need to motivate in order to achieve outcome?
Thank you, Salim. Just to make sure that I understand your question, why we need to motivate others or motivate ourselves?
Let me rephrase that. Why do we need to motivate in order to achieve outcome?
Yeah, I know. I heard the first. Mm-hmm. But it's just to be more precise, why we need to motivate other people or ourselves?
He says both.
Both. Very good. I always feel, and thank you very much, Salim, for touching this point. And I'm, by the way, giving multicultural webinars inside the company where I work. And I always say that if you, especially when you work with different cultures, but even within the same culture, if you don't have the person in front of you motivated to do something, you have the minimum of him, the minimum attention, minimum energy, minimum focus. So it is very important that you inspire the person on what is it for him? What is he going to get out of your common journey with him, or his common journey with you? Everyone wants something, and it is not always money that we are seeking. It is not only about material reward. Sometimes it is about evolution. Sometimes it's about getting recognized for what we are doing, moving from one phase to another, and so forth. About ourselves, again, what applies for others apply for ourselves. If you wake up in the morning just working in a routine manner, meeting people in a routine manner, doing things, you will lose this kind of sparkle that you have, that will make you think about new ideas, will make you research for new information, make you get reconnected. For example, thanks to the COVID situation, I'm getting reconnected with many of old friends and old colleagues that I did not get in touch with them for many, many years. Why? Because not only that I'm motivated to get them to let them be part of my journey, but also motivated to learn from their own experience, because I was not in contact with them. I was just a few hours ago talking with a boss that I had 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And this guy, I did not speak with him since 25 years. And I reconnected with him to be inspired, to be motivated from his own experience and how to benefit from his experience in my own. So motivation is something that will sparkle always the energy inside of us.
Thank you, Amr. We have a question from Chongming Tan. How to keep our energy high or motivated in a corporate world?
Corporate world, I would say first you need to be, and I always get teased by my wife saying, okay, your name is not, your family name is not Orange. Because I work for Orange. I'm an employee in Orange today. And I'm very proud to be an employee in Orange today, because I have part of my identity is the corporate world that I work for. So this is very important that you become part of the pride of the company that you work for. Second, it is always important, Shoming, to have a balance between what you do for your corporate environment and what you do outside your corporate environment. I mean, for example, I dedicate a certain number of hours where I am due to dedicate for my company. And I put in my mind that I'm a consultant for the company. I am giving them my time, my energy, but this is not the whole life. I have another life beside. So I don't get involved in any kind of political issues, in mental pollution and others. It is very important that I get motivated by the right things for the company and not to be diverted by the wrong things inside the company. So it is the pride. Being part of a company is a source of pride. And at the same time, we need to have a balance between the time and energy that you put in the company versus outside the company. So when we are back in the following day or the following week, we give the best inside the company. Now, this is as far as what we can do. The second element, maybe the company is going through transformation, and sometimes this transformation is not meeting your objectives, is not moving into the direction that you wanted. You have to always find out how you can find new opportunities in this transformation, in the new changes, how to continue serving the company. Again, the one who cannot adapt to the changes will die. And we all know that, whether in a corporate company or a corporate environment or outside the corporate environment. So don't wait for things to happen to you. Always think about what is best for the company and what is best for you. And when the match happens between your interests and the interests of the company, the motivation happens. And I can share further experiences around that on one-to-one with you, Shoming, or with anybody who would be interested to get my personal experience into this domain.
Thank you, Amr. Another question from Antonio Lima. In the motivation topic, how to choose between challenge or encourage people? How to know the best approach?
Okay, you need, I mean, if you are a manager, and again, either you are a hierarchical manager or you are a transversal manager, or even outside the management world, even if you are dealing with a friend and in a social environment or others, you need to have a toolbox. And this toolbox, you need to have the ability to challenge others and to motivate others and encourage others. And again, in all those kind of elements, there is one common theme and common elements and common characteristic. You need to respect the person in front of you. Don't challenge someone to break him. Don't challenge someone to show him that you are better than him or her. Don't challenge someone to show him that he's a failure and what he is doing is not worth doing. Challenge with the intention of developing the person. I mean, there is an experience that I recall now. I challenged one of my team members. We were in a taxi moving from one meeting to another, one customer meeting to another customer meeting. And I was challenging the person, and the person was not accepting those challenges. And I said, okay, fine, you have the choice. If you take those challenges, you will be able to achieve such objectives and you will have those doors open. If you drop those challenges, you will go backward and you will be doing what you used to do before. You choose. And he felt, I believe, that I'm here to help him and I'm not here to challenge him and leave him. I'm here to continue supporting him the next day and the week after. So he chose the hard way. So it is very important to recall that when you challenge someone, you show him that you care. When you reward the person, show him that you care. You are not rewarding him because it is just that you had a quota and you need to reward 2 members of your team this year, so you choose the first 2. You need to explain to him and to others why you are rewarding and why you are challenging, why you are motivating and why you are motivating in a different way, by caring, by putting yourself into his shoes. Last webinar, I mentioned on an answer about negotiations. I said, put yourself in the shoes of the person with whom you're negotiating in a business environment or a personal environment. Same thing about challenging someone or motivating someone. Put yourself in his shoes. Put yourself in the situation where he is going through difficulty. I'm not saying that you have to accept all what he's saying and you say, okay, you are right. Don't face the challenge, but you need to adapt your suggestions to his needs, to his context, and not just to give him piece of your mind, what you think is better, because maybe what you think is better is not adapted to him. Caring is very important.
Question from Mike McMarrow. Regarding your wake-up call slide, can you say more about your last point? Are you talking to me?
Thank you. I will It is the question about some of us will not recognize that we are part of this for those elements. Are we in the comfort zone of full agenda? Are we avoiding to read? Are we doing the whole day the likes and the comments and the social media? So I put this nice face of a boy by saying, you have to ask ourselves in the mirror, are we talking to ourselves? Are we recognizing ourselves into those kind of elements? Are we doing those elements or not? So it is very important that we face it. If we are having this comfort of the full agenda, how can we change it? Again, I'm not saying that you have to finish this webinar and cancel half of your meetings, but you need, for example, about the comfort of the full agenda, you need to give some time during the day to meet new people, to discover new ideas. When sometimes we get messages that are not within the core business that you are doing or the core interest that we are having, and we don't treat them carefully. So this comfort, I mean, you need to ask yourself, are you doing this comfort of full agenda? And if yes, how can you change it? The other day, a friend of mine, we are talking about it, and he said that he adjusted the agenda, and he was surprised that he was able to achieve much more by just adjusting his agenda a little bit, by just avoiding to have 3 meetings or 4 meetings about the same topic, and rationalize the time dedicated to one topic to have more time for other topics. So it is to question ourselves, are we part of this elements of the wake-up call, and how can we move it? I'm not suggesting that you stop sending comments and likes in the social media, but do you have to comment on every single thing that is going through social media? Maybe you need to focus on the topics that are of interest to you and to the interest to your business. So again, ask yourself, question yourself, and then answer the question, are you talking to me or not? I hope I answered your question, Mike.
Very good reflection. We have a question from Carlos Maltez. In the current world where we are very busy, how do you think is the best way to pursue your passions in terms of career without leaving your current financial providers?
Thank you, Carlos. Again, this is another $1 million question. I believe that the passion is what makes us alive. When we are not, I read this somewhere recently that a person was, I can't remember in which context, but he died very young, but they buried him 70 years later, which means that he lived maybe 80 years or 90 years, but 70 years of which he was dead mentally, passion-wise, because he didn't live in a passionate way. It is very important that every single day you have a certain passion to something. Again, we sometimes relate it to our hobbies, but this passion can be at your own work, can be your own life. I mean, I have a neighbor who is very passionate about fixing things. And when he finished fixing things for his own house, he started fixing things for the neighbors. He's passionate about this. Again, does it stop him from doing real work and getting real money? No, he is doing both. At work, I mean, I'm personally passionate about coaching people, and I'm doing it inside my work and outside my work, and the proof is what we are having today. So that's inside work. Whenever we are in a difficult situation, I transform this difficult situation into a possibility, an opportunity to coach people, to do my passionate element. It is something that you need to be, again, it is related to emotional intelligence. If you know yourself very well, you will know how to motivate yourself and how to find the passion elements. And you know how to find the right balance between getting your salary and getting a living and living in a passionate way. But if you don't know yourself well, then it's like driving a car that you don't know it very well. You just switch it on and drive, hoping that it will take you from point A and point B, because you don't know the car well. And if the car stops, you are stuck in the middle of the road. You don't know how to fix it. You don't even know the number of the technician who will come and help you with it. So start by knowing yourself. Stop always thinking that you know it all. You know what you need. Put yourself into question and live passionately. And sometimes admit to make some concessions about the initial objectives that you had, because it is consuming all your energy. It is consuming all your time, and no time and no energy for the passion elements. So the balance is very important, Carlos. Again, there is no one recipe to apply for everyone, but I consider that the metaphor that I mentioned at the beginning, if you don't live in a passionate way, you just a physical body on earth, and you are not alive on earth. And it is a pity that we live like this.
Thank you. Comments from Bafa Ram from UK. Dear Amr, thanks for your slide on EQ. And the question is, how do you think SQ, or spiritual quotient, will affect our journey and inspiration of our life?
Thank you, Vafa. For me, the spiritual elements, and again, this is my personal opinion, is about practice in every day. Spirituality that is in a book only, or in a close place, whether it is a mosque or a temple or a church, and not related to real life, for me is theory. So you need to be able to apply your spirituality in daily life, and practice it, and test yourself and see if it is related or not. Again, I'm not inviting everyone to have one definition of what the spirituality is, but the values that comes with the spirituality needs to be related to daily life. You cannot disassociate it from daily life. If you have certain values, for example, honesty, integrity, supporting others, you cannot just apply it when everything is fine, when all the conditions are positive. Now, with the COVID situation, we see in a number of cases in families, in companies, that people have less energy, less passion, less time for others. And despite that, they are claiming that they are very good spiritual people, and they read and they know their holy books inside out. But this is the test. The test is when you lack the energy, when you lack the perfect environment, that you still can help others. You still can apply those spiritual values. I have been working at a certain time in a company, in a startup, where we had so much money in the beginning of the year 2000. It was the boom of the startups. And but a few months later, or a few years later, the money started to stop. The investors started to stop putting money in the company. And then the company went through a hard time. It was a small company, total of 350 people. And this is where I saw all the beautiful souls, all the beautiful people, the integer people who claim that they are perfect, getting to the real themselves. The ones who had values, spiritual values or non-spiritual, but real values, they remained supportive, they remained integer. And the others, they started to behave in a very difficult way, because they didn't have the perfect environment that will make them shine. So I would say spirituality without practice, without linking with the real life, is not enough. And of course, if you are emotionally intelligent and you have spiritual awareness, and you bring the two together, you will be able to have the right balance between your real life, your spiritual life, your social life, your corporate life, and your passionate life. You will make a living while you're helping others, while you're living through your values, and your journey will be balanced. I hope I answered your question, Bob.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. We have one more question, and we still have 5 more minutes if you want to post your questions on the chat. We have this coming from Mauro Cruzeiro about emotional intelligence. Is it something that can be measured, evaluated, or developed? If yes, what are the available tools to do it? Thank you, Mauro.
Thank you, Mauro. Of course, emotional intelligence is something that some of us, like any skills, some people have it from beginning, and they need still to develop it. Others, they need to develop it more than others. So it is a skill that needs to continue being developing every day. And there are many tools in the market. Again, I can share with you some of those tools offline, and I can put it on the website. And this is one of my services that I'm proposing to offer, is to accompany some of you, or all of you if you wish, in some practical sessions around how to develop emotional intelligence. Again, it's all about awareness. Some of it are subjective, some of it is objective even. We can measure those elements. We can measure our ability to understand ourselves, understand others, and there are tools available in the market around those. So, but it is something to be developed, Mauro. Even for the ones who claim that they are high in emotional intelligence, age have a factor, context have a factor. As I said, when you are in a normal context or you are challenged, today with the COVID situation, we are all challenged. We don't live a normal life. For example, I love travel and I'm not traveling like before. I love meeting people and I don't see people face to face. So part of my emotional intelligence is impacted because I am not in my environment. Maybe others who love to stay at home, they are more happy to be staying at home due to confinement. Others no. So the adaptation is how you evolve in life, what you learn through life, new factors in life, and then you learn new skills around emotional intelligence. This is a never-ending story. It is never-ending story. I cannot consider that someone can have a certificate at a certain age or a certain year to say, I'm qualified to be emotional intelligence and that's it. And I can move in my life with this certificate. You can be certified as an engineer at a certain time, but you still have to have new courses and new learning around engineering. Same thing with emotional intelligence. It is something that needs to continue being fed and being developed. Human nature doesn't change, but the context where we have to apply emotional intelligence is changing around us, and we have to adapt.
Thank you, Amr. And that's all the questions we have so far.
Thank you very much. So I would just finish by really first expressing my high appreciation for your participation today. Deja, for registering, for accessing the website, for showing interest in this journey that I'm going through myself, in offering my support to all of you moving forward. I would love to hear from you, and the website have a certain number of possibilities, an email address and a possibility to share your feedback, to share your needs. But remember, and I will conclude on this point, it is very important to live your journey through passion, to be inspired by your own journey, to inspire by the challenges that you are facing, by the difficulties that you're chasing, and by the successes that you are going to achieve. All those are sources of inspiration. Just enjoy all of those elements and enjoy the rest of your life, because I'm sure it will be full of energy and full of achievement. And thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you, Amr. And that's it for our today's session. Remember that this has been recorded and will be published on amrshaker.com website. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the day.